Yeah, she wants to.
Should I send this link to you via email?
Yeah,
The what email you want me to
I totally. Oh, yeah. With the half.
You can, there's some like first you can use this, the same piece of them. The edit is like. What's the back where you can like.
You good to go?
We're good to go.
Sorry?
Yeah, we're good to go with the live stream.
Awesome. Cool. Hey everyone. I'm Purvanshi, and we are going to be doing some demos and building design agents with MCPs. And going to be talking a lot about like graphic design and foundational models for graphic design, etc. So at Leica, the company I founded around 2 years back, we are building models which are completely editable, which you can prompt. The AI creates it, and whatever the output is, you're able to edit like you're doing on Figma or Canva. So you can think about us as like Canva on steroids or like Figma on steroids. So you can do stuff really fast, and that's why a lot of brands love us. You can go and just change things instead of reprompting it again. And on the technology front, we are actually building foundational graphic design models. So design is very hard to quantify, and there are no data sets which exist for graphic design. And we are laying out the groundwork for this field called foundational graphic design. And we are going to be soon releasing our benchmarks about why recent models and previous models like Google Neo, Nano Banana, or whatever, the models are really, really bad on design type of tasks. Soon in mid-October, so keep an eye out. So yeah, we hear the term a lot about MCPs, and everyone's like talking about MCPs, this hackathon. I've heard this word at least like 1,000 times, and I've just been here for like 3 hours. But what are MCPs and why were they fundamentally built, and how were they built? So LLMs could not perform actions natively, and that's why we needed something to do function calling through LLMs to enhance their capabilities. So everyone kind of tried to come up with their own ways of defining them. OpenAI came up with something, Google came up with something, but people at Anthropic who are also here, they said that, okay, we need to build a protocol for standard way of communicating between a language model and all the tools that the language model can access. And you can think of it as like a USB-C port for AI applications. So before USB, people had a lot of problems in connecting to different kinds of monitors or on screens and things like that. But now they have this very cool application where I can just go and plug in a USB port and it works on any kind of media. And so we are actually standardizing actions through like these 6 key elements like transportless, lifecycle management, yada, yada, yada. But what the goal of like the next 3 slides is dive like one layer deeper between what the protocol is about. And the first part, the most important part, it's like an agreement between client and server. So this could be between LLM and the prompting that you're doing. So they do like a handshake mechanism to say, okay, so these are the tools that are available. This is what the client is asking for. Are they in this particular realm of auth or not? And that's the main goal of an MCP. The second part is like capability negotiation. Again, like these are the actions that I support, and these are the actions that the server supports. And there should be an agreement between both of these two parts, the server and the client, whether they can do something with those particular tools or not. The third part is transport, and this is particularly interesting for you, for anyone building with MCPs, that this is the structure of the request, what it looks like, and this is the response structure, what it looks like. So there has to be parameter, which is usually the key, the string, the prompt, and then there has to be a response structure with like data, or that could be code, that could be a message. And these two are the standard modes of transport, even in MCPs. So the impact that it has had is now the developers in my team, they can do things like, hey, Can you check the latest Jira issues assigned to me? Find the one about this particular error, export code of the relevant Figma designs mentioned in the ticket, look up and update the code that implements the login flow in my repository. So within this one statement, you have called 4 different types of tools. Like one is Jira, which we use for login. Second is Figma. Third is Claude, memory recall, and the fourth is GitHub. So it is able to go through the error, read everything, and do a PR. And then we can review whether the PR is right or not. And I do this a lot where there's a prod issue. I first check it, can I automatically solve it or not before assigning to any engineer in the team. So yeah, now Elad is going to come over and he's going to talk more about design MCPs.
So today we'll give you access to our MCP, which can do a lot, like a few types of design actions that you can use throughout the hackathon. But before that, I'll show 2 pretty common MCPs of 2 pretty common platforms for design. The first one is Canva. I guess you know that. So Canva is a pretty massive player in the graphic design domain. They have more than 220 million monthly active users, where you can find layouts, presentations, posters, so many different types of designs across many categories like social media, documents, presentations, sheets, and so on. You can actually find there more than 30 billion designs. So through Canva, you have access to 2 types of MCPs. The first one is the Canva MCP server, which gives you, think about two types of families of functions. The first one lets you modify a design, like you can either generate the design or to resize the design or to export the design, like it's PNG, or you can manage your entire workspace, like create folders, comment on designs, move items between the workspace. And there are a few more. I'll show you later how you can see all of those. The other type of MCP server is called Canva Dev MCP server. And you can use that server if you want to make a Canva app. Okay, you can add like your plugins into Canva, and either you can use them or the community can use them. So maybe you want to read the documents related to Canva app and then use a design, like a coding agent to make your plugin. You can use all of the documents that are available on Canva and then plug everything to your cursor engine, for example, and create a Canva app that can do things that you like. And here are a few examples. So for example, for the Canva MCP server, we could use Canva to create a few posters for the MIT workshop that is held right now on how to build design agents for MCPs. So we can just use the Canva engine to make that. Review my presentation. Maybe we want to extract my layout, send that to a VLM that has reasoning capabilities, get a few comments, and then upload the comments to my design on Canva. So we can do that through the Canva MCP server. And for the Canva Dev MCP server, I guess throughout the hackathon, you can use both. Maybe you want to create a Canva app that would recolor the designs according to my color palette of my brand or my liking. Or we would like to create a Canva app that would publish my designs to my Instagram page automatically. So we will need a tool that uses the plugin of Canva, so we can do that through the Canva Dev MCP. Now let's show you a demo of how you can actually do that. How do you communicate with the Canva MCP? So I'll just share the entire screen. Okay, and we have everything here on this GitHub. Okay, so if you want to do that online with me and see that it works for you, then feel free to just open that. Okay, so if you just go to GitHub LicaWorld, then you have this. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Let's go back here. Yeah. So just go to
sign MCP, go there and.
Oh, okay. Yeah, right. Okay, so if you just go here, you can find everything. For the demo, we'll start with the whatever we have in MCP workshop. Okay, so the first thing we'll do is show you how we can use this ID, the cursor ID, which I guess you all have access to, in order to communicate with the Canva MCP. Okay, so we just open an empty workspace. We start by installing one package that you will need. Let's go to terminal, new terminal. Okay, I already have it, but you can just npm install -g mcp remote. Okay, so we install that. And now we have cursor able to communicate with the MCP. Okay, so we create a new project. I did that. This is the most crucial thing. Okay, we add the folder .cursor. It will give cursor the access to that folder, but it will not use that like as part of your code base. So here you can create a new folder, cursor. And we're going to add a new file called mcp.json. Okay, now in that mcp.json, you can just put one after the other, all the MCP servers that you want to communicate with. For now, we'll have only one, which is the Canva MCP. Okay, we have its address. You just take that. All of the providers like Canva will just give you this string. You just paste on cursor. Okay, so we have it here. We just save. Say, oh, new MCP server detected, Canva. Let's enable that. Maybe you will need to restart cursor, but it's not necessarily. Okay. And now let's start to ask cursor, which is our host, what tools we have among all of the MCPs that it can see. Okay, so we just ask list tools. Let me just make it larger. Okay, and this is a pretty good tool to use when you want to work with MCPs during the hackathon. Just add those MCPs, do list tools, and then you can just see all the things you can do with them. It doesn't really mean that if you want to call, I mean, it's not an API. So if you want to do MCP Canva create folder, you don't really need to call that string. Okay, you can just use natural language, and the LLM that works with that MCP will understand that it needs to call this. Okay, so but it will just give you an idea of the different things you can really do as part of your project. Okay, so these are the tools that we have. Now let's start creating. Okay, so for the first thing, you can be very, very creative. But let's begin by creating an invitation for a birthday party for a boy who really loves dinosaurs. Okay, so as you can see, I have this as a command. It's just natural language. I don't know if I want to use Canva. Maybe I can use Google Slides. I don't know. I want to create an invitation for a birthday party for one specific boy. Okay, let's hit enter. And now we have the LLM processing both my prompt and all of the available tools that it has access to. It will figure out that they need to use Canva, and soon we will see the response here. Yeah, for the other demos, we will not wait for that to happen. Okay, so we have everything ready. I just want to show you how it works. Okay, so perfect. I have 4 different birthday invitation. Okay, so we have design option 1, 2, 3, and 4. And just a little thing you should know that this is not going to be a link for an existing design. Only once you press that link, the design will be created. Okay, so you cannot really do you cannot really take the link of that and use that because it doesn't really exist, only when you enter that. Okay, so let's look at the first option. Okay, so now we have Canva open and we can see the design. We see it's related to dinosaurs, but I actually don't really like it. Okay, so let's try the second one. Okay, maybe it looks better. Maybe I would like to add an image here. Let's see the next one. Okay, this one looks good, right? I have an image of dinosaurs. I have like relevant text. I see maybe I need to change something. Okay, let's continue with that. So now say me and my wife we're viewing all of those examples, and we want to communicate over those projects. Okay, so now let's try to add a few comments. Okay, so now let's add a comment. Okay, we know from the use tools that we can do, from the list of tools that we can do that. I would like to take the third one, and let's take its address. Okay, now we see that it understands that they need to add the comment to the design, and soon we will see that here.
Maybe one of the cool applications that we've seen is generating PRD documents from the code itself. So you can give the cursor code as context and it generates a PRD document. And you can just go and edit there and share it with your team.
Yeah. Okay, so you can see I just edit this this comment through cursor. Say now me and Oraf were just working on all of those designs. So maybe I just want to see show me the comments on the design, on this design. And then it will just go to Canva, get the comments, and voila, we can see it here. Okay, so we have the comment by me on this time, and this is the comment. Okay, so it's, as you can see, it's pretty easy to do that through the chat. Okay, you have the list of tools that you can do, and just by chatting, you can do that. Okay, so this was one example that we showed. So I guess that you felt that it was pretty easy, right? It took me like 20 seconds to make that running. It was pretty good for prototyping. I could see what I can do with the Canva MCP. Maybe I can improve my prompts further. I can easily experiment that there. And I don't really need to write complex code that communicates between the MCP host and the MCP server, right? So Cursor does everything. However, I guess you felt that I cannot really go outside of the Cursor IDE. So everything I did was just chatting through Cursor, and I showed you the links that I have there. I had to press like click, go to Chrome, and everything was there. I cannot really use that as one app. So I need to show you Cursor. I need to show you my chat history. I have everything there. And I cannot really orchestrate the operation. So I cannot do everything offline and just give you the output. Okay, everything needs to be one after the other online. So this is about the Canva MCP. I'll soon show you how we can overcome all of those. But let's show you one more example of the Figma MCP. Okay, so Figma is pretty similar to Canva. It's more UI UX focused, but there's a pretty big overlap between the two. Also in Figma, we have a pretty large community. There are a lot of designs there. Many designers would work on Figma, so it makes sense to automate the processes that you can do on Figma designs. And in the Figma MCP server, you have five tools you can use. The most common, I guess, is the get code, which would get the code that is being used to render the design on Figma. Then you can use that code and convert that to HTML, CSS, or others. You can get the information about the variables like the color, the metadata, positioning, and so on. You can get images. You can create system rules, which would help the models convert one design to another platform. For example, if you want to make a website out of a design, and it's not a one-to-one mapping. So what are the design rules that you should follow? So everything is here. And let's see an example of how you can take a Figma design and make it a functioning web page. Okay, so here we have an example from the Figma library. Maybe you have a design that your designer made, maybe you made that, or maybe you just take something from the community. So I personally liked this design the most from the community, and I really like to make a website that resembles that design. Okay, so I load the Figma MCP into Cursor, like I showed you before. Just you add a different server on that list. We have on the GitHub also the instruction for that. I ask Cursor, like, just make a design from this, make a website from this design, and I get just the idea of the design. And it takes a few minutes, and then I get an actual HTML code for a website with those images and this theme. Yeah, and like just taking a few minutes and one line of code. Okay, so this is about Figma. Now let's talk about how you can take that one step further and make it an actual app or something that is programmable and can use MCPs. So we would recommend you use FastMCP. It's a repository that you can just use. It would automate the entire interaction between the host and the MCP server. We'll just show you examples. And you can also use Streamlit for the UI, but you can also write any UI that you like. And then you can use as an MCPs embedded in your own app. Okay, you can just customize the orchestration of different MCPs. You can use a pretty nice and user-friendly UI, and you can also scale that and use that for many users, not only one user who is just prompting and having a conversation through Cursor. So pretty similar to the steps that I showed you before on Cursor. What we have here is, first of all, this is just like pieces of code, but you can see on GitHub the entire code. So the first stage is just defining the transport. It's the connection between the host and the server. So we need to give the path, pretty much like we had in the mcp.json file. Then our host knows which MCP it should communicate with. So this is the one thing you should do. The other thing, you have the function of list tools, in which should be used to get the list of all of the tools from all of the MCP servers. And importantly, we have the call tool, which should call the right tool with the right parameters. Okay, and then if we want to create a design, we would call the create design tool of Canva with the parameters which are relevant for creating that design. And last, we have the prompt analysis. And this is where the LLM comes into the picture. So in this case, we use GPT-4. In the messages, we will give the LLM both the user prompt, like create an invitation for a birthday party. So we will give the message. We will give all of the tools which the host has access to, like all of the tools from the MCPs. And the LLM would understand what needs to be done. Okay, then the LLM would process that, and we will be able to make the call tool call. Okay, so this is how you can do that. I'll just show you again the repo. So if you go to our GitHub, you can go to MCP Assistant. Okay, and here in the assistant.py, you can see an example of how you can make that host working with FastMCP on like on an active app. Okay, and today we'll also give you access to our MCP. Sorry, it's here. We'll give you access to LicaMCP, which can do many types of actions, like actions in text and speech, image processing, video creation, design. It has access to Reddit if you just want to do something with Reddit, avatars. So it has a lot of tools that you can use to streamline design tasks. You can run that online on mcpassistant.licaworld. So you can go there and just run your prompts there. I'll show you that. And you can also do that on local. We have README, and you can just run that through there. So one example is that before I show you things I did this morning. So one thing we can do is just take this assistant and ask it to create a photo of a robot walking next to the MIT Dome. Okay, so we get this as the output. Then maybe we want to make that robot dance. So we just ask the model to make it dance. We don't really need to know whether we work with Kling or with Google or whatever it is. We have a set of tools. We don't really need to know all of those. We just give the prompt. Maybe we want to add voiceover. Maybe we want to add subtitles. So we can do many things. With that. And you can also follow that code to make your own design agent. You can also fork our repo and add a PR, and we'll be happy to add your additions to our MCP. Let's show you a few examples that you can actually use for your hackathon. Okay, so maybe I want to make my final presentation through the Leica MCP. Okay, so I could go to this website, like to our MCP, and ask it, give me the text for a 5-slide presentation of my design agent at Hackathon MIT. Okay, so again, we don't really know what happens behind the scenes, but we do get this output. Okay, so we have text that we can use for our presentation. Then we would ask the agent to create a presentation on Canva for my project. And we already have the outline. Okay, so we just give the outline and we get the output. Okay, so now we can just go into Canva and see the different designs that we have here. Okay, but now maybe we want that to be a little more complex. Okay, so maybe we will add an avatar. Okay. Okay, so I have this text of the slides, and I want to add an avatar. Okay, so let's ask the MCP to create an avatar that would read those lines. Okay, so we have this avatar.
Slide 1, title and introduction. AI design agent, your creative co-pilot. Automating design workflows with intelligent AI. Built at HackMIT 2024.
Okay, so we have this avatar, and now we can all go back to this Canva page. Just put our video.
Slide 1, title and introduction. AI design agent.
And maybe we also want to
creative
put it in this placeholder. Okay, now we have a pretty nice presentation that we can use. You want to change the color, we can change the colors, and so on. Good. Okay, so you have all of the resources that you need here. So in this link, you can just find our MCP. You can just prompt and copy the final output. If you want to use the code and implement in your app, then you should use this repo. And also, if you have questions, then feel free to ask about that. This is the link for our website where you can read more about engineering and research at Leica. And if you need API keys, then just ping us and we will send you API keys that you can use for all of the tools that we support for video generation, image generation, all of the other stuff that you can do there. Just ping us and we'll send you the keys, and you can use that throughout the hackathon. Questions?
A minute on challenge. So what we're looking for on the challenge end is anything that is created, you can do with AI. That could include customized speech generation, like your professor uploads slides, can you prompt TikTok videos, or the other way around, if someone is like a reader, can you convert slides into like paragraphs or text? or you could also build co-pilots for slides, or do you have any other ideas for them?
I had many good ideas from you. I will not just reveal them.
Yeah, but anything along lines of creative AI, where you can think beyond just image generation and video generation, that would be interesting to see. So looking forward to everything and new UI UX paradigms where how can we, if you have 10 agents which are communicating, can you show them in a UI where you can see that, okay, this one generated voiceover, this one generated video, and you're putting everything together. That's a per agent that you're using it for. That's all pretty interesting.
And feel free to come and brainstorm with us, because we know a lot of problems that maybe there are things that you think that are solved and they are totally not solved, sorry, and vice versa. Maybe you think that something is a big challenge and maybe it's not. So feel free to come and brainstorm. And we are really interested in those tasks. And there are many big challenges there. And you can totally make your bring added value there by just doing something, even something small.
Thanks for joining us.